Welcome to my series on how to use ChatGPT to improve your artworks. In today's lesson I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to improve the composition of your artworks. It's pretty cool. Let me show you how to do it. So we can start off with the basics by asking ChatGPT, remind me, what are the rules of composition? And as you can see, it gives you a nice little list of a variety of different rules. There's obviously plenty of them, and it's telling you as much anyway. But it gets you started with the conversation of what are the rules of composition, and you can go and see what types of composition options are available to you. So I have made a little checklist for you. You can go and download it. The link is in the description or below the video, so go and check that out. Okay, so let's move on to some practical examples. So here what I've got is a sketch with as many mistakes as possible made in it. And we're going to use ChatGPT to help us improve the composition of the thumbnail sketch. So I'll simply upload the little sketch that I've got. And I've asked ChatGPT, I've sketched the scene. What can I do to make it look more appealing? What it's going to do is use its vision to look at the artwork, analyze it, and give you some recommendations. And as you can see, pause the video and read all the recommendations that it made, but they're all really great ones, like improve the balance, get your eye flying through the picture better, get the boat on the thirds, all those nice usual composition rules that sometimes we just plain well forget about. I know I'm guilty of doing that every now and again myself. But then it's also making a bit more advanced suggestions to you, like getting your overlapping right or working on the contrast of your focal point and so on. The stuff that we often miss. Pause the video and read through the different suggestions that it's made, and you'll see they're quite comprehensive and really helpful. If you have this option available to you, you can always ask ChatGPT to make you a new thumbnail by adding in all these changes that it suggested too. So I've done that, and let's see what it looks like. And when you do, here's a little tip for you. ChatGPT is ratio that he works with on creating an image tends to be whatever it decides is best. So it'll make it square or landscape or portrait, whatever it feels like. So if you want it in a specific ratio, always just tell him which ratio you want it to be. Alrighty, so here you can see it's created the sketch using its recommendations, and I think it's a vastly improved composition. It definitely does look great. It does lead your eye to the boat, and it's even picked up on something simple, like on my sketch the boat was going out of the picture, and now it's changed the direction and made it come into the picture, which is the way it's supposed to be. You don't want the boat to lead your eye out the picture, right? So I do, however, see that these three birds are A, way too big, and B, just way too symmetrical, and you can ask ChatGPT to improve it. But you know what, I'll just quickly do it in my drawing program. It's such a small little edit, I can do that myself. And to do that, all I did was cloned each of the birds individually onto their own layer, and then the base layer I just cloned out the birds so that it's background, and with that I could reshuffle and resize them to exactly the way I want them and the way I like them in my artworks. Okay, let's move on to the next example. I found this picture on Pixabay. I like the picture with the strawberries and the apples and the basket and everything, but there's no clear focal point. So let's upload that to ChatGPT and ask it what it thinks is the focal point in the image. Okay, so it's saying it's the red apple, which I tend to agree with because it's the biggest object. He is going to draw the most attention because he's got the most weight if you go according to composition rules. But as you can see, obviously the composition and the placement of the apple is absolutely terrible. So let's work on improving the composition of this photograph. Let's say maybe we want the strawberries to be the focal point and not the apple. So I can ask something like, if I want the strawberries to be the focal point, what could I change? And let's see what it suggests. Okay, so you can pause the video and read all the suggestions it's made. It's some really good suggestions, like improve the lighting on the strawberries to make them more prominent, make the apple smaller, or put the strawberries more on the third. So let's work on some of those suggestions. So the first one is ChatGPT is asking me, do I want to see what these improvements could look like? And I've said, yes, go ahead. Let's see what it spits out for us. Okay, so we can see that it's pushed the apple back, made it less lit, it's darker, and it's made the strawberries in front a lot more prominent. So yeah, the strawberries are definitely front and center now. Alrighty, let's play devil's advocate. What if we say there's just too much red in this picture? What can we do to add a bit of contrast to this image? Let's see what it suggests for us. Okay, so it's suggesting either a color contrast, a texture contrast, or a shape contrast. It's suggesting a green apple, which I quite like, but I think let's, instead of an apple, because we already have an apple, let's change that to a pear. Then we've got our shape contrast, but we make it a green one, and we've got a color contrast as well. And that should make that pear pop quite nicely. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to exchange that large front strawberry with a green pear. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so that's a really pretty image. I do like it, but it didn't replace the strawberry that I asked it to replace. It put it on the right hand third, which is fine. I mean, I'm going to download this image. It's going to make a beautiful painting as it is, but we want to get it exactly the way we've asked it. So I'll show you what you do. Go and download the photograph that it's generated with a large strawberry that we want to replace, and then go into your drawing program. Then you use just a paintbrush and the most rudimentary, crude shape of a pear in the correct place as you can muster, and that's good enough. And we'll go and upload this photograph back up to ChatGPT and tell it this is where we want the pear to be. And that looks just fabulous, don't you think? Okay, let's move on to the next example. I found this photo of a bird on Pixabay. I'm going to pretend I've taken the photograph of this pretty bird. Now I want to use this photograph, but I want to create several paintings out of it. And each one of them, I want them to be unique. So let's ask ChatGPT what kind of changes we can make to this to create variations of the composition. I do like the colors. I don't want to change that, just compositional changes. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so I'll let you pause and read that. Basically, it's saying move the bird to a rule of thirds, get a nice close-up of the bird, and a wide shot of the bird. Yes, pretty generic, but I'm sure we could definitely create artworks out of those. And if you want to, you can play a little bit more and get different suggestions with other ideas as well. But for now, we've got some ideas to play with that are workable. So let's continue. If you're not sure how to get it to create different suggestions and stuff for you, watch the previous video in the series. There I'll show you how to get ChatGPT to give you the most insane ideas. So ChatGPT is asking me if I want to see what the mock-up thumbnails of the 3 different types would be like. So let's say yes please and see what it comes up with. It didn't quite nail this one out, did it? Which just shows you AI has still got a way to go. So I think we'll ask it for each different type individually. 3 in together is just one step too much at the moment. Okay, so this is what the rule of thirds crop looks like, and yeah, I like that. It looks great. And look at all the lovely detail that it's kept in the image that it's generated. Yeah, I've asked it to add a little bit more looking room on the right hand side of the bird. It's done that beautifully. Now let's ask it to show us what the zoomed out version is going to look like. It's not bad. It has kept the eye on the third like it should be. The The bird just seems a little bit squashed up in the corner though. So I'm gonna, and the other side looks a bit empty. So it's a bit off balance. So let's get ChatGPT to improve the balance by suggesting a few little, what else could we add in that top right hand corner? So again, you can pause and read all the lovely suggestions it's made. I've said to it, I like the little sailboat, but just make sure it's out of focus. So I'm letting it generate that image for me. And there we go, there's our out of focus boat. Okay, now let's ask it to create the zoomed in version of the bird. There we go, and the boat's also still in the background. That's cool. I asked ChatGPT to overlay a thirds grid on this image. It's got it right left to right, but not up and down, so sadly that's not an option yet. Now let's change it up completely and ask it to give us this image in a portrait orientation and include the feet in the picture. And let's see what it comes up with. Yeah, that's a nice little composition. I can see the bird's feet. It is in the portrait aspect ratio. I've still got my boat in the background for interest. What I don't like is this little mirage of a boat here near the bird's beak. But, you know, that's just something that you can ignore when you paint, or hop into your drawing program, remove, or even ask ChatGPT to remove for you. That's not a problem. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to just hop into my drawing program after downloading the image and just move the boat to the other side of the bird, just to have some balance, and remove that little mirror image over there. Yeah, that looks great. Fabulous little painting. That's, and I've actually got 4 paintings to create from the same bird. In another video in the series, I'm going to show you how you can get even more creative, and we'll use the same bird, and I'll show you how fabulous we can change this to create unlimited amounts of artworks using the same bird. So there you have it. Now you can let ChatGPT take a look at your thumbnail sketches, your photographs, and help you improve the composition. You've seen how easy it is. It's really quite powerful and really exciting, don't you think? Being able to just bounce ideas off somebody. I mean, as artists, we often work alone, so there you have it. Now you've got somebody to bounce ideas off of, and make improvements that you would possibly not be able to do beforehand. So check out that download cheat sheet that I've made for you. It's in the description below. I'll see you in the next lesson.